Right now on Denver 7 News at 8, it's election night in Colorado.
We have to think about the sacrifices that were made for us to be able to actually vote.
Colorado voters making their choice for the Democratic and Republican nominations for president.
We're both supporting President Biden.
I'm going to vote for President Trump.
As hundreds of thousands of votes are counted across the state.
We run fair elections. We test our equipment in the beginning, and we do an audit at the end.
We're bringing you the latest analysis and live updates as results come in.
Welcome to Denver 7 News on Local 3. I'm Jessica Crawford.
I'm Shannon Ogden. Glad you're with us for Super Tuesday, the biggest night of the primary season. Polls in Colorado closed an hour ago, so let's get to results.
In the Republican primary, no surprise here, Donald Trump projected to win here in Colorado. Nikki Haley, though, coming in second place with a relatively strong showing.
And of course, Joe Biden walks to victory here in Colorado.
And we do want to bring in our chief investigative reporter, Tony Kovaleski, breaking down some of the initial numbers for us.
All right, what's the storybook say tonight, Tony?
You know, the headline you guys got, no surprise there, but diving into the numbers is the fascinating part here. And you're going to see an interesting story here. As you talked about, those numbers are right there. Trump 61, Haley 35. But what is fascinating is if we take you inside what those numbers show and the specific county breakdown. Nikki Haley winning two of the strongest Democratic counties. In Denver, let me take you inside that number quickly, and you'll see her number. Let me click over to Denver instead of Adams County. There we go. Denver, 53-43, Nikki Haley, a strong Democrat county. Also Boulder County, 55-41. But let's dive in deeper to the Republican counties that always show strong. And I'm talking about Douglas County. You'll see that Nikki Haley pulled up 36% of the vote there. And then going down into Colorado Springs and El Paso County, 66-31. Those are telling stories. They're saying that Nikki Haley resonated with voters. And as we've seen nationwide, the question on the Trump side of the ballot was, can he do well with rural women? And also, what will he do with educated voters? And I think these numbers are consistent with what you've seen across the country. A strong showing for Nikki Haley. No surprise Trump wins, but now how will this transition? And again, in Colorado, we've talked about the unaffiliated vote with 2-to-1 ballots taken by unaffiliateds that were Republican as opposed to Democrat. Remember, they had the choice. It's clearly unaffiliated weighing in on this election and sending a bit of a message. So the story inside these numbers, a decent night for Nikki Haley, probably better than what most projected. Not enough to win, but I think enough to send a message.
All right, thank you for that wrap up, Tony. Now we're getting over to Denver 7's Brandon Richard, who joins us live at the University of Denver.
Brandon, looking kind of lonely out there tonight.
Yeah, that's right, Shannon. About the most exciting thing happened just about 30 seconds ago when CNN said that Jason Palmer had won American Samoa here, defeating President Biden. But you can see that's about all the excitement here at what was a watch party here at the University of Denver, because there really weren't any big surprises tonight here on Super Tuesday. Both President Biden and former President Donald Trump each expected to do well tonight. So for students, it was really an early night for them. But, you know, young voters could play a big role in November's election. Traditionally, we know young voters are more progressive, more likely to support the Democratic candidate. But this year, President Biden seen his support slip among young voters for a variety of reasons. And young voters here who we talked to tonight say they're not exactly thrilled about a Biden versus Trump rematch. We spoke with some of them earlier. Here's what they had to say.
I think Joe Biden has done a fine job as president overall, but I don't think he should be in the office again. I'll be voting for him because that's my only option, but no 82-year-old should be in the presidency, regardless of their politics.
I do plan on voting for Joe Biden in November, but I think that his handling of Israel-Palestine has sort of left a mark on our generation.
So I'm kind of just waiting for Nikki Haley to drop out, which is unfortunate because I kind of had some hope for her to succeed, but it is what it is.
So as you heard there, even though those young voters are disappointed with President Biden, they say that doesn't mean they're warming up to Donald Trump any. Some of them said if they have to, they will begrudgingly vote for President Biden in November. Of course, they say some of their friends might stay home unless, of course, either candidate gives them a reason to turn out this November. So that's something that we'll all be watching very closely. For now, we're live at the University of Denver. Brandon Richard, back to you.
All right, Brandon. And a Bernie Sanders shirt making an appearance here. Bernie won here in 2020, by the way. So Colorado, one of 15 states with a primary tonight. And across the country, the results are as we thought they would be. Biden wins almost every single Democratic primary there. Trump all but sweeping the GOP vote. But at last check, Vermont's still too close to call. Nikki Haley making a strong showing there. Now, keep in mind, no candidate can mathematically get enough delegates to tie up the nomination tonight, though we can get very close.
So joining us now, Jesse Acevedo, an assistant professor of political science at the University of Denver, to tell us more.
So Jesse, glad you're here tonight. I know we've talked about Nikki Haley's making a strong showing. She's lost. She's lost everything but the District of Columbia so far. This is not going to be her thing. So how long does she keep going here? She said she would go through Super Tuesday. Well, here we are the evening of Super Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, one, she would have to take a look at the results to see if she could. Her getting consistently like a third, I think, is a big deal. What does that mean in terms of her leverage on the party? That's something we'll find out in the coming days. And also, if her donors are willing to continue fundraising her campaign, will be another. But I think it's quite telling that despite this idea of Trump being the dominant incumbent, she's still very, very competitive. But will that translate to the next round of primary elections? We'll find out soon.
But also what we've seen some of the other candidates who already had dropped out in the Republican side, sort of vying, jockeying, positioning, maybe for a vice president, maybe a shot at the cabinet. I don't think that's Ambassador Haley's long-term goal here.
Oh, no, for sure. But there are other, Nikki Haley is probably also thinking long term. This is an incredible investment, even into 2028 if she chooses to run then, because she's already setting quite a foundation on how to campaign. I think her visiting Colorado last week is kind of something to think about long term for Nikki Haley's political future.
What I found interesting was what we were hearing from those students who were in college, those young people, and them kind of talking about how important that Israel-Palestine conflict is to them in their voting, but that they would still be willing to vote for President Biden. I find that very unique, because we see some people talking about how they would even hold back on voting.
Yeah, I think the primary is an excellent chance to kind of give a signal that you can't do in a general election. I think 2020 was very indicative of that when we saw the competition between Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden. It really sent messages to the Democratic Party on these are the type of policies voters want. This type of demand on the conflict in the Middle East, you can't really make that in November. So voters are probably using this opportunity right now in March to send that message to the Democrats about their opinions on the Israel-Palestine conflict.
All right, Jesse Acevedo, thanks for being here. We'll see you again in our second half hour, if you'll stick around.
Thanks.
Thanks, all right. And find results right now, all the primary results right now on our website, denver7.com.